So apparently Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is on streaming now. I remember seeing this in fucking theaters, so I guess I'm doing a review. So welcome to Under 5. My name's Proto-moto, and let's just get right into it. So starting off the story is an absolute mess, and the director, Johannes Roberts, could have done better in terms of just writing in general, instead of trying to kill two birds with one bullet. The first problem is the setup. They do the standard Raccoon City exposition dump, and then it just sits there for like 2 minutes straight, and then you're just in your seat reading. They could have gotten K.S. Cordero, who plays Claire Redfield, to do a read of it, because it's like 4 sentences, and then that would basically be a better intro than the entire first 30 minutes of this fucking movie. The second problem of the movie's story is that it combines the first and second game's story together. For those who don't know the Resident Evil series, the first and second games do not overlap. Only the second and third games overlap in terms of timeline. For some reason, the director who wrote the film combines this into a weird monster of a mess. The movie really should have picked a plot to stick with instead of going back and forth between the two. They should have done the first game. They should have just done a survival horror where the film immediately just starts off with STAR's team just getting off the helicopter and investigating the Bravo crash site, and then Alpha Team getting attacked by zombies and forcing them into the mansion to take shelter, and then focus on Chris Redfield and the survival horror. Even if they chose a third game plot, they wouldn't need Chris, Jill, or Wesker in this movie, and they could still mention Alpha Team and then focus on Claire's backstory being an orphan. And by choosing one of the game's plot, they could have just done more with a lot less. Another problem stems from the combination of using too many characters on screen. The last thing I would point out as a problem would be the writing of dialogue, because they literally only have 2 reactions, is to say shit or fuck as a response to anything inside this movie. I know it's a rated R movie and all, but like, saying fuck so many times just denoises it and just makes it kind of moot. The writing of the characters are the byproduct of the poor writing of the plot in general. In this movie, it's hard to get a sense of who we want to win because we don't actually get to bond with any of them at all. The characters feel like shells of the ones from the video games, but Leon is like a punching bag, Wesker's a big funny man, and Jill Valentine's just horny. Another problem with the STARS team is that there's no reference to the actual name STARS. Like, they do the whole Alpha Bravo shtick, but Bravo team is just 2 cops that appear in the first 20 minutes, and we kind of forget much later in the film. We also can't get invested inside any of these characters because they are on screen for minutes at a time before we switch to other perspectives of other characters. The last part is the main villain. The main villain is basically the guy from Resident Evil 2, the main scientist bad guy who turns into the same monster at the end, but he's kind of not there in the movie. He has like 3 scenes overall. Overall, it's a pretty good film in terms of horror, and definitely there's creepy parts, and I think overall setting, the lighting works well. I even think Evan Yeaga's acting is quite good, and that he is a good Leon, and maybe if they do make an adaptation of 4, he could play Leon in it, but that's pretty much about it. There's also a decent amount of references to Resident Evil games in general. They have the first Itchy Scratchy from the first game, and we even see a film reel of the Asher twins later on in the movie. The end does make me think that there probably will be a sequel in the next few years. The end credits scene does set up the next film. Overall, it's just kind of a boring movie. If there was a real pandemic happening, I'd advise, like Umbrella, to stay in your homes.